So you guys see it on social media all the time. Guys who say, oh man, I just went to Thailand or Medellin and it was so amazing. All the girls are so beautiful. I went on blah, 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 so many dates and the women were so feminine and their standards were, so much lower and realistic. And I get it. I support being a passport bro. I'm shooting this video. I am in Sao Paulo, Brazil. I think that there's, if your priority in life is to find a beautiful, feminine, sexy, supportive girlfriend, she's cooperative, you guys have amazing sex, you guys get along, she's smart, beautiful, and kind of like grow together with that person, I fully support it, right? It makes perfect sense to want to escape the hard, the masculine and ungrateful and, way too demanding, way too high standard having women in, America, Canada, UK, Australia, etc. It makes perfect sense to want to get as far away from those women as possible and go overseas. But what I want to talk about today is a little bit of the dark side of being a passport bro, right? And I'll try to be concise about this, but I have a lot to say on it because it's not all just, unicorns and rainbows and stuff like that. So the first thing you're going to deal with is you're going to a foreign country is loneliness, right? It can be very hard to make friends. You're going to have two options, right? One, make friends with the locals, or two, make friends with the other expats, the other foreigners there. And both have advantages and disadvantages, right? The expats, probably going to be other business owners, other cool guys, other guys that are on the same purpose, other passport bros, guys that work out, they're into fitness, they're into making money. That's actually probably 20% of them. Actually, a lot of expats, surprisingly, in these cities are the worst of the worst people you want to avoid. But if you can find the good percentage of them, awesome. However, most of them will eventually kind of migrate and move away. Your social circle will constantly change. You'll always have to make new friends. They tend to be very transient, right? Your other option, make friends with locals. Good luck doing that. Good luck doing that. I have friends that live in Thailand, Indonesia, Medellin, Colombia. They all tell me bro, I haven't made a single friend, a local friend. And it makes sense. You have a tremendous language barrier with the locals there. There's a cultural barrier. If you're going overseas, you're probably into, maybe you're into biohacking and working out and marketing, and you listen to high level podcasts. You're super intelligent. You listen to guys like Alex Hormozy or, I don't know, Grant Cardone, you're reading books, you're digesting, audiobooks, you're a top high level performing guy. And you get to this place where the locals only want to talk about soccer and reggaeton music. And they have, not a whole lot. They're very unburdened by deep thoughts. And it's just really hard to connect with these locals, right? So it can be very, very difficult. The next thing is danger. I put out a previous video where the U.S. Embassy, they put out a formal warning against going to Medellin, Colombia, because at least 10 people in the last, and this is just Americans, so it's more with, if you talk about Germans, Swedish, Canadians, etc., but at least 10 people have been kidnapped and murdered in Medellin, Colombia in the last 2 months. And most people survived their drugging and robbing. So if 10 people have been murdered, probably 100x that have just been drugged and robbed. So you can be putting yourself in a dangerous situation. The next thing, it's impossible to source anything in a lot of these countries, right? You have to get things locally a lot of the time. If you want to get a yoga mat, you can't really order that online. I mean, yes, you can. They have this thing in South America called Mercado Libre. It's a piece of crap website. It can kind of work. I don't want to get into it, but I was in the Fresh and Fit podcast the other day, and I saw, just the gorgeousness of how it was put together. They had, the way the cables were hidden. They had this adapter and this thing to hang the camera and this specific lens and this thing and this thing and this thing. Trying to build that studio in a place like Brazil, you just couldn't do it. You couldn't find a local place that had all these very specific things that you needed. And if you ordered it on Amazon, it would cost 4 times the price between shipping and insane import taxes that the corrupt government puts on a lot of things. It would be impossible to build that type of studio. That's another thing. You guys think it's cheap living overseas? You have no idea. Supplements, technology, a lot of things are double to triple the price that they are in the US. Services, rent, and food are cheaper things. Most other things, furniture and stuff, could be a lot more expensive. The next one, this is kind of an obvious one. Are you going to learn another language? Você vai aprender a falar português? Tu vas a aprender a hablar el español? Are you going to learn? I speak Spanish fluently. I speak Portuguese conversationally fluently. It takes 4 years to learn another language. And, if I don't constantly practice it, I'm a little rusty. You can even see when I spoke my Spanish that I'm fluent in, because I'm thinking so much in English and Portuguese over here. A veces está difícil volver a hablar el español. You forget it if you don't speak it, right? It takes 4 years. So are you really going to put in the time to learn another language, right? All other things living in other countries, they can just have very low IQ things that can just be constantly frustrating. So, I'll do what I guess I do a lot on this channel, which is, pick on Colombia again. But did you know that online bill pay doesn't work in Colombia? Now I can see in the comments somebody, I'm a Colombian. What are you talking about? I do online. Shut the fuck up. Bitch smack your fucking 5'6" bitch ass. It doesn't work. Maybe 5 to 10% of the time. Like, I had a Colombian bank account with a Colombian debit card. Utilities and cell phone would never fucking work. Like, a miracle, could I get it to work sometimes? Yes. But like, for the most part, online bill pay doesn't work. Transferring money into the country, oh my God. If you do it as a business transaction, you have to call one person who approves all the international transfers through the main bank, Bancolombia, between 8 a.m. and 1 p.m. He takes forever to answer the phone. He's incompetent. He doesn't approve the transfer. It would take me like hours on the phone just to get my money into the country. And just in general, we have a lot of efficiency and competency in the U.S., right? You go to a place like Colombia, you order a hamburger, you say no cheese. There's going to be cheese all over it. I know a guy who got locked out of Colombia. Even like the lawyers aren't even competent there, right? My guy says, hey, do I have enough visa time? Can I go to Brazil, acquire some Airbnb properties, and then come back in the country? Do I have enough time? His visa lawyer says, yeah, I've reviewed it. I've counted. Yeah, you're good. You can do that. He goes to Brazil. He comes back, gets stopped at, Migración in Colombia. He can't come back because he's out of days. He had a girlfriend in Colombia. He had all of his clothing. He had a whole life in Colombia. He was locked out for the rest of the year, which is like 4 months, had to just stay in Brazil because his own visa lawyer screwed it up. So you got to be, completely prepared for incompetence, visa nightmares. Okay, so let's say you're a passport bro, right? You want to go meet a beautiful, I don't know, let's say it's Brazil, right? These visas, these digital nomad visas can be a lottery. I know a lot of places where guys like, half my friends who apply after a lot of bureaucracy, a lot of waiting, a lot of screw ups, 7, 8, 9 months into it, finally they get their digital nomad visa or their business visa. And then the other 50% just don't. You think America's the only country that's hard to get a visa for? No, it's really hard to get a visa in a lot of cases, right? It can be like a lottery. Now I'm hearing in the comments, I got my visa so easily. Good for you. You were one of the lucky ones. We're not all lucky, right? Visas can be kind of a lottery. So what do you do if you meet a girl who's Brazilian and you can only spend 6 months out of the year here and she doesn't have a visa for America? What are you going to do? You're here with her 6 months. Then what do you do for the other 6? Oh, you're just going to fly her out to Mexico? Now she's in a country where she doesn't speak the language. You guys have no friends there. You're going to just, travel the world with her? That gets really, really expensive. I mean, you're going to have to, do long distance for 6 months? It's a whole other thing. I think you got to keep, are you going to raise kids in another country? Do you have any idea how your children would turn out if you raise them in a certain country, right? Certain countries, as I won't name them to be a little more politically correct. The people there are just extremely unburdened by deep thoughts, and growing up in that culture, you're just going to have dumb kids with terrible values. And then, okay, cool. So maybe you have kids in the US, you bring your wife back to the US. Do you know that you can be hung up in sometimes 2 or 3 years of legal process before you can bring your girl back to the US with you? I know guys who waited 4 years for the visa process or whatever to bring their wife back here. Okay. Now, overall, I still support being a passport bro, right? I know I've said a lot of bullshit. It doesn't always have to be difficult. I just want to, listen, I don't think that I hate when people do like a travel thing, like, oh, I went to Cambodia and it was so amazing. It was beautiful. And this was amazing. And that was great. And oh, it was so amazing. But they never talk about the negatives. Whenever you talk about something, be it anything, a political ideology, a device, a country, anything, things have advantages and disadvantages. And I hate when people just, oh, it's so great. Go to Medellin, go to Brazil, so great. Blah, blah, blah. Wait till you come to Brazil and figure out what a CPF is. Wait till you try to get this payment thing called Pix because you need a bank. Just wait, bro. It's tough. So I'll be putting out more guides on how to be a passport bro and how to cover all these issues, how to, build friends here and stuff like that, how to network, how to get past the visa stuff. All the things I mentioned, I'll be covering. And guys, follow me on Instagram. I do a lot of giving advice and stuff and rants. Like, on YouTube, I have to be kind of general. I have to make it concise and quick. On Instagram, I go deeper and I give them more nerdy, like step-by-step applicable advice through my stories, through my rants. All my best dating advice is on Instagram. It's not here on YouTube. Also, as you guys know, I teach online dating. My whole marketing, my whole shtick is that we've moved from, meeting high-quality women used to take place in person. You go to bars, nightclubs, the streets to meet high-quality women. Now that's taking place online. If you're smart and the early adopter of this are winning big. And I put together a free guide for photography and content for Instagram and dating apps to be attractive to women. And that is on my Instagram. Just DM me the word photography and I will send you that. Also subscribe, like the video, comment for the algorithm. That's all for today, guys. Peace.